Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the City Guys podcast. We took a little bit of a break here, so we got a little bit of recapping to do, but we're going to mainly focus on this last match week against San Jose, and we're going to talk about the situation with Mellberg and how we feel about that. So let's just get right into this one. It might be a little lengthy. Varun, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good actually. And I mean, yeah, first things first, let's address like the elephant in the room here. Olof Mellberg is no longer leading St. Louis City SC. Now, Fletcher, what do you think about this?
Um, I think it was justified. It does seem pretty brutal to get fired that early on. It's one of the quickest firings I've seen in sports, but I don't. You can't say it's unjustified. I think we was 10 games winless in the MLS. We've won 2 games all year, and we've just been playing terrible recently. And I don't know. I am a little surprised. I thought they would have at least kept him until at least halfway through the season,
Yeah,
especially considering we just fired our coach last year. So
yeah.
this is we've had 2 coaches be fired in 2 seasons now. So
Mhm.
not a great look, but you can't say it wasn't undeserved. And based on what we've seen so far, I mean, I think the team is better without him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I thought that was coming out of this is we are playing Aston Villa in June, and that was
Mhm.
Olaf Melberg's former club when he played as a player. And I think the whole reason why that match was even scheduled in the first place was because Melberg was our manager. So it's going to be a little awkward in June when we play Aston Villa because, yeah, Melberg won't be there. So it's going to be a little bit awkward. But yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree with this firing here, this sacking of this manager. Because, I mean, what is that? Almost 4 months winless now? 3 months winless, I think. So,
since March, early March.
holy, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's been a while, so it's not a good look from Melberg. And I mean, watching the game yesterday, San Jose versus San Jose, the players really looked. They looked really well. They looked really good. They had a lot more fight in them than I've seen in the past couple of city games. So, I mean, I personally really like this, and I mean, our new coach here is an interim manager, Critchley, who actually led City Two, and City Two currently are sitting in third place in what is it, with the Western Conference, I guess, for the
Mhm.
MLS Next. So he's done a pretty good job. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's only been 1 game where he's been the head manager, so we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. I I do think it was for the best to let Melberg go, because I think we've seen enough from him to know that he wasn't he's not going to be here long term, regardless of when he gets fired. It was more of a matter, or it's more of a matter of when rather than if he got
Yeah,
fired. So I don't have a problem with him doing it early, and this way it at least gives us time for the rest of this year and even before like the transfer window opens, to kind of assess the situation a little bit and kind of assess the current personnel and players that we have to see if this was more of a managerial or a player issue. Because
yeah,
I think the squad, talent wise, should not be this bad. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. And so I think the players now, all the pressure is on them at this point. Like they're going to have to perform and get some results. Otherwise, I think a lot of them are going to be getting replaced soon. So
yeah,
um, yeah, I'm
and
excited to see. I think it was a good move from City, and
yeah.
yeah,
I feel like one of the biggest players on the chopping block right here is Joao Klaus, and he has kind of responded to that with that goal against San Jose. It was kind of a fluky goal in my opinion, because I don't
hmm
know what the San Jose goalie was doing on that. It was more like a FIFA ass goal where the goalie just does not come out to close down Klaus, and Klaus is a free net. I don't know what the goalie was thinking there. But a goal is a goal, and I think that puts Klaus at his second MLS goal of the season. I think four
yep,
total, including the Open Cup
yep,
games. So,
yep,
I mean, I personally really like this from Klaus. I've always liked Klaus, but he hasn't been the most effective. It's no secret that he's been really bad this season. And I mean, even like last year, he wasn't really bad. He was pretty bad. I mean, he didn't score for what, almost a calendar year. Um,
Hmm.
when he broke that goal scoring drought against Columbus, I think it was this year. So yeah, I really liked what I saw from Klaus yesterday. And yeah, I mean, one of my biggest issues with Mellberg was that he couldn't adapt to games. I feel like being a good manager, you need to be able to adapt to different situations, different teams. And it kind of seemed like Melberg was doing the exact same thing every single week in and out with that 3-5-2. Or I mean, yeah, 3-5-2. And I mean, it just did not work. I mean, with even like the profile of our players, right? Our back three are what? Our makeshift back three are what? Timo Baumgartel, Kyle Hebert, and Joshua Yarrow. And if you're playing a
Hmm.
3-5-2, you need defenders or CBs who can handle the ball. And yeah, Baumgartel is pretty good on the ball, but I'm not so sure about Hebert and Yarrow being ball playing defenders. So it kind of just ended up with both of them
Yeah.
getting the ball from Berkey or Ben Lund, whoever was in net, and it just kind of ended up being a clearance out to the midfield to nobody, and then the other team just countered. So, and Melberg just did not change that one bit. So I feel like, yeah, it was a Melberg problem, but also it was kind of on the players as well. I didn't see as much fight as I would have last season under Hackworth. I think the players really did support Hackworth.
Hmm.
But yeah, I kind of feel like even the players just gave up this season. So yesterday's
I
game,
yeah.
yeah, go on actually.
Oh, I was just gonna say I do agree. As I don't think Melberg was the right coach for this team.
Yeah.
Um, because I think it just didn't really make sense bringing him in with his style when you've built this team around pretty much all the players you recruited were to fit around the Bradley Carnell
Uh huh.
high pressing system.
Yeah.
And then you try and do basically the opposite, play an ultra defensive, back three, possession based system. You know, in hindsight, it should have been pretty obvious that it wasn't going to work out. Um, but I agree with the point that a lot of the blame has to be put on the players too. I don't think this was
Hmm.
completely Melberg's fault.
No.
And yeah, some of the selections, I think Yarrow and Hebert just were. It was baffling, to be honest. No disrespect to those players, but how much game time they got, I just don't think they fit the needs of the Melberg system, and I just don't think they're honestly quality enough to be consistent starters, in my opinion. But yeah, there wasn't a ton of effort, it felt like, by the players these last few match weeks. It seems like they'd given up on the coach, and I think that's honestly the biggest reason why he got fired. It wasn't just the fact that we weren't winning games; it was the fact that the players weren't trying and had given up on him. And I will say that's like similar to Cardell. I mean, that's basically what happened to him. Is the players kind of gave up on him and weren't
Hmm.
really putting in any effort right before he got fired. And that led to the team releasing him. So it's the same group of players, really. Well, I guess some of them. We did bring in a lot of additions
Oh
after
yeah.
Cardell left, but it's really on the players at this point because we've gone through two coaches. The players have basically given up on two coaches, got two coaches fired at this point. So if the guys really don't perform, I think we're going to have to see some massive, massive turnover going into next year. So 100% of the pressure is on the players now. So I don't know. I think with the guys they have, it'll be interesting to see some of the changes from Melberg's system. We saw a little bit of that in the game this past match week. If we want to get into that game,
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I liked what I saw from the team. What are your thoughts from this game? Just like your overarching thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I think that this was a pretty solid game. We came into this game at home
Hmm.
against a San Jose team that is pretty good and had
Yeah.
been in really good form. They were unbeaten in their last 5 games
Yeah, and they're the high
going into
scoring.
this
They're
match.
the high scoring team in the league.
They got a really great attack. So we had the odds kind of stacked against us, but it was at home with a new manager, so you never know. And I think the lineup that they put out for this game was very strong.
I liked it.
Um, right, we went back to the back four with Baumgartel. Durkin played center back, which was kind of weird to see, but he honestly did a
He
pretty
did a
good
good job.
job, and it gave us something completely different from Melberg's system, or at least what Melberg had is we actually had a capable ball playing center back with Durkin out there, which maybe that's part of the reason why he was out there. But I think it really changed the way we played because we were able to play out the back in this game, which we haven't been able to do all year long, and has really hurt us.
Yeah.
And it led us to having pretty solid. I mean, possession was pretty much 50-50 in this game. And we had a lot of good chances. We had more chances, had the higher XG. So I think it honestly was a pretty big change. I don't know if I want to see Durkin played center back going forward regularly, but he did a pretty good job in the first half when he was called upon. So I did like that. And I also thought Zielinski at right back played a very strong game as well. Totlin did make a sub appearance in this game, so he's probably getting pretty close to fitness. Will probably be a regular starter going forward, but Zielinski honestly has been pretty impressive in the minutes that he's gotten this year.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And Critchley being the manager now, the interim manager, is that I like the fact that he's using guys from City 2, guys that he knows how they work, how they play. So Jaden Reed has been playing City 2 ball since he was injured, kind of here and there. So they have to kind of get him get him some game time. So he has been playing some City 2 games, and even last year he played City 2. So I feel like Zielinski and Jaden Reed both have had a pretty good profile under Critchley. Like he knows how they play. So I really liked what he did this past match week here with these fullbacks. And I mean, I thought both of them had pretty good games. I thought our entire back line was pretty solid up until that goal that we let in early 80th minute something. It was like the 83rd minute.
Yeah.
But it was like a pretty garbage goal to let in, and that's kind of St. Louis City for you. Like, you know, we still have that issue with closing out games like last 20 minutes. We kind of still concede. But I feel like we're working towards it now that Critchley's here. This will change, guys. I mean, yeah, the biggest thing I really liked about Critchley that was different from Mellberg is that he likes that high pressing style. So, I mean, Mellberg kind of liked to sit the second that the opposition got the ball, your team would just go back and sit deep and just try to stop a goal from coming in. And the past City managers they've all preferred a high pressing type of game style. So it's nice to see that we're going back to our roots, kind of like doing that again. And I thought it was effective. I do feel like the biggest beneficiary coming out of this game, though, was Edouard Lewin. And, you know, there has been some off the field stuff with him, you know, with his wife and stuff that, I mean, prayers out to her. But, I mean, anyways, Lewin, though, he has been injured. It's been off the field type of stuff that's been happening. So he hasn't been his best self here. And this game right here, man, I felt like Lewin controlled the game. He controlled the tempo of this game pretty well. I mean, I thought St. Louis City was by far the better side out of these two teams. And I do feel like that was a lot due to Lewin, man. I mean, he did end up having a goal and an assist. So, I mean, yeah, Lewin, I think, is a key player on this team. And, I mean, he hasn't really shown it for the past, like, year or so. You know, he's kind of fallen off. But, yeah, he's once again proving why Edouard Lewin is a fan favorite at City Park. So, I really like that.
Yeah, this was his first game back in a while, so it was good to see him back. And, you know, he played very phenomenally in this game. He kind of was the engine throughout the midfield that we've seen in the past from him. And I think, like you said, with the more pressing style, it just fits these players, I think, so much better because they were all brought in because they could fit that mold. So obviously it makes a lot more sense why they'd be more comfortable or more effective doing that style. It'll be interesting to see if they, you know, how much of the press we're going to see going forward. Because especially early on in this game, it felt like it was kind of an all-out press at times, which was pretty effective. But we did see, you know, City under Carnell kind of play that way, and eventually teams were able to adjust to it. And we ran out of stamina a lot, especially near the end of that first season. So I don't think necessarily that this team needs to be built completely around the press, like an all-out press system. But I like the fact that they were doing a more aggressive style than what we've seen under Mellberg. And I think it's just about finding that kind of happy medium and trying to build a team around that. But talking about this game specifically, yeah, I was pretty impressed with this performance. Both of the goals for City in this game were kind of a little lucky, I will say. I mean, the first goal came right before halftime.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful ball played to Klaus, and he kind of headed it and then kind of assisted himself on the goal. But it was kind of a goalkeeper error.
Yeah.
If the goalie just would have came out on that one, he probably would have got it pretty
Uh-huh.
easily. But he kind of hesitated and then tried to
Yeah.
back up and had no chance on saving that.
Yeah.
But it was a great shot from Klaus. Great
It's a
run,
good
great
finish. Yeah.
finish. So you got to give him a ton of credit for that. And I'm really happy for him to score here. And hopefully this could be the start of something new for
Oh,
Klaus and
old Klaus, man.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, help with his form. And then the second goal came at the very end of this game. I think it was like the 92nd minute. Simon Becker had gotten the ball almost. I think he had a defender kind of back to his right, and he was kind of in the corner of the box. And he tried to make a move around the goalie, and the goalie just
Took him
flat
out.
out tackled him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and went flying into the air. Pretty clear penalty.
Yeah.
Leuven steps up, pressure moment, nails the penalty, and that decided the game.
Uh-huh.
So again, happy for Leuven as well,
Yeah.
especially with everything that he's been through to get a goal, the game-winning goal like that
Uh-huh.
at home in the first game under a new manager is huge. So
Massive.
this is a huge result for City. I felt like this, if they could win this game, it was almost like kind of kind of like a fresh start in a way to this season, and getting a win here in the first game without Mellberg is huge. And standings wise, City is still on the outside looking in, but
Yeah.
this at least gives us a more realistic chance at actually making a run here and
Yeah.
making our way up the table. So yeah, this was a huge 3 points.
I completely agree. I feel like one of the things that I just want to talk about here is that I don't know if it was like one of the last. It was probably one of the last like moments of the game here with that Conrad Valum second yellow, which ended up being a red card.
Right.
We both were at this game, so we had front row seats to that red card actually.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I don't understand why Valum got the yellow card, the second one, because it really seemed like Conrad Valum, right? So it was basically he was taking on one of their wingers, and he kind of kicks the ball out from the winger's feet, and it bounces off of Valum actually to go out. So Valum is currently mid-run, running out of the pitch, running off the pitch into the boards, and then the other player comes in and pushes Valum, and apparently the ref gave Valum the yellow card for like wasting time or something, trying to get the ball. But from our angle being right there, I really did not think that should have been a yellow at all.
No.
So I mean that's just like, I don't know. It's just a hard yellow. I don't know. Just an unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because he picked up both those yellows very late in the
Yeah.
game. Kind of completely unnecessary as well. I do agree. I think the second one was a
Very soft call.
he did kind of get shoved. Yeah, he got shoved by the San Jose player. But to be fair, from the ref's point of view, it did kind of look like he threw the ball to kind of waste time. So I understand why. But yeah, kind of an unfortunate moment at the end of the game, seeing Valum get red carded, because I think he's actually been very solid this season. He was a really good addition during the offseason, so I was kind of excited to see him in this new style, but I guess we won't be seeing him next game. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in that midfield. Probably Durkin probably moving to the midfield from his center back role. So,
yeah, and I do kind of feel like this red card kind of really opens that up with Durkin Lewin kind of double pivot in that midfield. And then, it kind of opens that up to the CB, since Durkin's not playing CB anymore. Kessler and Baumgartel kind of being our main CBs, and I really, really do like that. Kessler is back from injury. Baumgartel's been pretty good. I really like Baumgartel. He's a really good center back. So I feel like that CB partnership is going to be really good between them. So, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing here is that I also feel like we had basically our full starting, like our first choice starting 11 on the pitch at the same time. in this game. So I feel like everybody's kind of coming back. They're all healthy. Totland is back. Jaden Reed is
Mhm.
back. Kessler is back. So yeah, Leuven is back. So we have all our key
Mhm.
players kind of coming back in this pivotal moment in our season. So that is absolutely massive for us. One of like
Yeah.
the issues I did see though was Teuscher. He kind of came off early with that injury, so we don't know how serious that was. Klaus also did come off due to injury, I think, or it was maybe like a precaution. But yeah, Teuscher, I think we're gonna have to monitor that, see how that is. So that could be a huge
Mhm.
blow for this team. But yeah, I mean, players are coming back from injury, so that is the biggest thing here. So Critchley will have like a kind of a almost fully fit team to work with here. So he has everything to work
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said during this game, I felt like at the start of the second half they subbed Kessler in for Durkin at center back, and then later Jean Silver actually came on at the end of the
Hmm.
first half to replace Toyshirt, and then you had Totland come in at right back during the second half. So I feel like you had, in my eyes, the ideal starting 11 out there at one point, um, which is pretty huge for a new manager to have pretty much all of your top players fully fit at this point. Rasmus Alm, when he comes back, will be a
Uh
huge addition. And if
yeah.
Toyshirt's injury is serious, then Alm would be the ideal player to fit in. I feel like on that right wing because that's where he played. Toyshirt
Yeah.
played during this game, and he actually played pretty well. I thought before he got hurt. So
Hmm.
it's very fortunate. Hopefully, it's not anything too serious, but. Having John Day Silver as well, who came in to replace
Yeah,
Toyshirt
yeah.
and
I
started
thought,
pretty solid as
yeah,
well. I
he's solid
thought.
game. One of my issues with John De Silva, I guess, from what I've seen these past couple of weeks, is that he's really good on the ball. Like dribbling
Mhm.
wise, kind of getting past defenders, he's pretty well. But his finishing needs a lot of work here. He has like a lot of skills. I mean, gets all the way down the pitch, but then the finishing is like
Mhm.
a zero, like 99 dribbling, zero finishing from him. So I feel like if we just get a little bit more finishing, better finishing from him, yeah, some of those could end up in
Mhm.
actual goals from John De Silva. So he has a lot of potential with this team. I really like him.
I agree as well, and I think with him, I felt like kind of struggled the last few weeks. That Open Cup game against Minnesota, I think, was
Yeah.
pretty rough from him. That was a pretty horrific performance when he came off the bench.
Hmm.
And I think with Jean Silver, yeah, he has that dribbling and he's able to take players on. Honestly, better than anyone else on this team. Even Celio, I would say he's better at doing that. But he does turn the ball over quite a bit. A lot of times, very frustratingly, he tries a lot of like no look passes and kind of low low percentile passes that he really shouldn't be making, which is kind of frustrating. And I feel
Hmm.
like his defensive awareness is sometimes pretty lacking too. But I think with a little bit of coaching, he could be molded into a really phenomenal player because he has the skill set for sure. He's got the skills, he's
I
got the
Yeah,
athleticism.
I like him.
If he could just work on a couple things, then I think he could be a really, really good MLS player. And he, a couple seasons ago, was really strong
He
with
was good.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty solid addition when they brought him in, and he's a player that I think could potentially really shine under a new manager here.
Yeah, another player that I really do love, of course, you mentioned him, Celio. I mean, he has grown to be a fan favorite at City Park, of course.
Mhm.
He's probably arguably one of my favorite players at this point. But yeah, Celio, he's kind of also just like John De Silva. He likes to take on players. Celio does have better finishing because he does score those bangers. A lot of bangers versus Kansas City. He shows up against the rivalry games. So at the rivalry games,
Mhm.
but yeah, I really do like Celia. He always looks dangerous on the ball. And yeah, his passing is really good. I really do like him. He's a very smart player. He's very creative. Yeah, and Celia doesn't really turn the ball over as much, which I really do like about him. Is that
Mhm.
he's a very smart player. If he knows that he can't get the ball past the guy, he'll just pass it back or find the overlap. So I really do like
Mhm.
Celia. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and I think with this game specifically, having Jaden Reed in there, who is
Yeah.
really good at making those overlapping runs and has a lot of pace, and is pretty good on the ball, really helped him a lot. And I think it'll be interesting to see going forward whether the new manager is going to prefer Reed or Horn at left back.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I think that's honestly one of the stronger positions on the team in terms of depth. Because I rate both those players very highly, and they both offer something different. With Horns, a lot better defensively, and
Uh
is
huh.
still pretty solid on the ball. Where Reed is phenomenal on the ball, and
Yeah.
is a great playmaker, but isn't the strongest defensively. So I think both of those guys could really fit different kinds of lineups, and City will be able to adjust to other teams by having both of those guys
Yeah. Yeah.
available to play at left back.
Yeah.
So I thought the Reed Pompeo partnership during this game was actually really strong, and there was a lot of chances coming from that left side.
Yeah, the biggest thing here is what I want to see is a lot more flexibility than what Mellberg used to do. So I do feel like Critchley is a guy who would like to be very flexible with the formations and the players that end up starting. So yeah, just like ending up, it depends on like what the other team is. If there is a need for a more attacking kind of fullback, yeah, Jaden Reed is your guy. If you want to play more defensively, yeah, Giannis Horn's there. And I mean, yeah, Melberg, I feel like would just kind of stick with the same players, the same formation. So we knew what to expect, which with Critchley here,
Right.
he could do a whole like a number of different things here. So I don't know. I'm really excited to what I'm really excited for this future with Critchley here.
Yeah, I we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's only been one game, but this was a very strong performance from City. They were
Yeah.
the better team during this game, and they got the win, deservedly so. So hopefully, this is the start of something new here. Um, as City, at this point, we're knocked out of the Open Cup, so all we have is the league. And I think going into the summer with the Leagues Cup starting up, which is a tournament we won't be in. It's going to give us a little bit of advantage going forward as we'll have less games. We won't have as much match congestion as most other MLS teams
Yeah.
will. So hopefully that we could use that to our advantage and take advantage of some teams that were kind of being overexpended and playing one too many games. So hopefully we can make a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, and I guess moving on here now, St. Louis City is taking on Portland on Sunday, next Sunday, in Portland. So what are your thoughts on this game here? I mean, Portland is a pretty decent team. They're fourth kind of
Mhm.
overall in the MLS. Or actually, I'm not sure actually overall in the MLS where they are. But in the Western Conference, they are currently fourth actually. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I going to Portland, I don't think we've had the best of luck there. I yeah, against Portland also we have not had like it's kind of been 50-50. But yeah, I do really think this is an interesting game. This will kind of show how good Critchley actually is with kind of managing this team. And I don't know. What are your thoughts about this game? I'm kind of still conflicted.
Yeah, Portland is going to be a tough test. Obviously, going there, it's a very difficult place to play for sure. Um, but we're playing another very good team in the MLS, like San Jose was. It's going to be a very strong opponent. So it's another chance to kind of test the players on this team and see what we have here.
Yeah.
Um, because we're going to need another really strong performance from everyone if we want to get a result in this game.
Yeah.
But I do like City's chances here. I do think Portland. Well, they are fourth in the Western Conference.
Mhm.
They're 11th
11th,
overall in the
yeah.
MLS. And if we could get some points from this game, this would be huge from us going forward.
Yeah.
And I really think with our attack playing better, hopefully under Critchley, that we can rely kind of on our two center backs. Hopefully, a healthy Kessler who can play the whole game, and Baumgartel to have a really solid performance in the back, so we can take more chances up front.
Hmm.
I'm going into this game a little optimistic here,
Yeah.
and hoping that City can get a result.
Yeah. Just a couple stats to drop here. So Portland has won one out of their last five. San Luis City also has
Mhm.
won one out of their last five, of course. So it's not that much different from both of us. And Portland has scored 3 goals in their last 5 games. So they haven't been scoring a lot, while St. Louis City actually has been
Mhm.
scoring a lot more, 6 goals in their past 5 games. So I do think that St. Louis City is kind of actually kind of fixing. They're on the road to fixing their attack. Um, but yeah, this Portland team is still very dangerous. I really do think that they do kind of have some kind of decent, like kind of decently big injuries. Portland does, but I still really do think that yeah, without Valum, that's going to be an issue, kind of filling in that role. Hopefully, Durkin kind of fills in that role. But yeah, this Portland team is still very good, and of course, St. Louis City. We have not been great, at all.
Mhm.
It's no secret that we've been one of the worst teams in the league. So if we can kind of take advantage of this Portland kind of they've had a pretty like in and out type of form here in this past couple games. So
Mhm.
if we can kind of just lock down our defense, we played pretty well defensively yesterday, I thought, against San Jose up until that 80th minute. So we need to figure out how to close out games. That's our biggest issue here. We play good for the first 60, 70 minutes, and then the last 20, 30 minutes end up kind of killing us. So we need to kind of figure that out under Critchley. I think that will be one of the number one things on his to-do list. So yeah, I feel like if we can just lock down our defense, get on a good ball movement up with our forwards, I think that we have a pretty good chance of actually coming out with a pretty good result against Portland at Portland. So yeah, what are your score predictions of this game?
Um, it's gonna be tough. Portland, even though their attack has been struggling recently,
Yeah,
it's been overall one of the better attacks in the MLS this year. Um, so I do think they will be able to generate a lot of chances against us. Um, so it's really going to come down to our attack, and if we're able to counter them very well, and kind of replicate what they're doing. I'm going to say I think this will be a pretty competitive game that could go either way. But I'm going to go with I'm going to say 2-2 draw here. I'm going to say we get a point here on the road.
yeah, that's solid. That's a solid pick. Um, I don't know. I think mine. I feel like this game might end up being like a really boring game. I don't know why. I just kind of have a gut feeling. So I'll go with like a 1-0 St. Louis City win. I think it'll be
Yeah.
like a second half goal, just to end like a pretty boring night from both teams. It's just gonna be like a defense show, in my opinion. Portland still does have a pretty decent defense, Um,
Mhm.
their defense, I think they've conceded maybe one more goal in the league than we have. So their defense is about the same kind of here and there. They haven't conceded much in the past couple of weeks though. That's the biggest thing
Mhm.
with Portland here. Both their games that they've lost 2 games in the past 5, have been 1-0 losses. And yeah, in that span of the past 5 games, I've conceded 3 goals. 3 goals,
Mhm.
four goals. So not a lot of goals coming in against Portland. So I do think that with our struggling attack, I do think that they'll get it together and they'll score 1 goal against Portland. But our defense will hold strong. But yeah, did you have anything
Yeah.
else to add to this?
No, not really.
Yeah, so I guess I'll wrap up the City Guys podcast for this week. It was kind of a longer video, I think, but yeah, there was some big issues, or big talking points here this week. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully after a City win. So we'll see you next week.